Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Shrishtham Manamapi Shatchiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajamurapuring Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Atah Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagarna Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagarna Lalita Shri Vishnu Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Yesterday I spoke about Shakti worship, although we're really interested in worship of the Shaktiman, one, the possessor of the energy. Worship of the Shaktiman includes worship of the Shakti. Shakti comes from Shaktiman, not vice versa. Actually, in full-fledged Vaishnavism, Shakti and Shaktiman must be worshipped together. Lakshmi Narayana, Lakshmi Narasimha, Lakshmi Vara, Sita Ram, Rukmini Krishna, ultimately, Radha Krishna, and Shakti, Shaktimatar, Abhedaha. They're non-different in the sense that the heat and light of the sun are not different, inseparable. Different, yeah, different but inseparable. There's no, what's that? Ataprahit surja nahi jani. Radha Biraha Krishna Nahimani. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that just like we don't know the sun without heat and light, so in the same way he says, I do not accept any conception of Krishna without Radha. However, worship of Shakti in this world, considering her to be supreme, although it is in scripture, at least if we accept Devi Bhagavat, although controversial, not one of the 18 Puranas, apparently a forged work. But it's widely accepted that Shakti is supreme. And although I don't know of any philosophers who uphold that nowadays, just like in Vaishnav Dharma, as we were discussing yesterday or the day before, even in the sampradayas where the shastric and philosophical understanding of the supremacy of Narayana was central to their culture, that's not upheld nowadays. But still there are some. I mean, there are Vaishnava philosophers still of the old traditional kind, especially in the Madhva Sampradaya. They've upheld that culture rigidly. Not as widespread as usual, because there are plenty of Madhva Brahmanas who didn't study the Shastras as their central focus of study, and who are working as IT professionals and in similar lines. But that's upheld, and in the Smarta line there's still some philosophical teaching or Gurukul is going on at Kanchi, Kamakshi Pitam, Kamakshi, Shakti. Radha is also Kamakshi. She has desire in her eyes. And at Sringeri is still going on. But then, even if they accept that Shakti, they're not really Shaktas, because they don't accept ultimately any particular, nirvishesha. They don't accept anything in particular as supreme. The departicularized supreme, nirvishesh, they accept. Even though Shankara, well, as Vaishnavas we know that Shankara, he sung Bhaja Govindam and he made his Krishna Ashtakam and commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama, but he also composed the Saundarya Lahiri in praise of Shakti. That's quite popular among Smartas, isn't it? And Lalita Sahasranama from Brahmanda Purana, I believe it is. And did Shankara write a commentary on that also? Maybe ascribed to him. We don't know. Very beautiful, the very name, Saundarya Lahiri, waves of beauty. But the Shakti, those who actually accept Shakti as supreme, we'll find very prominently in Bengal, but I don't know if there's any philosophers of that. Anyone who's philosophically upholding that. It's worship of, especially in Bengal, worship of Kali. Jekane Bengali, Shekane Kali Bari. There's a saying. Wherever there are Bengalis, there's a Kali temple. Maybe they don't consider the Vaishnavas as actually Bengalis. They're not real Bengalis, they're just imitation, those people who came from East Bengal. Although, or maybe the Mednipur is also a traditional place of pure Vaishnavism, but that's previously part of Udkal, considered. Now it's considered part of Bengal. Anyway, one reason to think about why we're going to talk about the worship of Shakti. I'm planning to speak on that more now. There is a misconception, and that was promoted by a worshipper of Kali, or it became popularized by his disciple Vivekananda. Ramakrishna was a great star in the evolution of Hinduism, that everything, that all the previous, he brought it all together in one saying, Jato Mat Tato Pat. That's what people think. And then Vivekananda, he brought it to another level, brought it to the world, and gave a philosophical, he's imitation Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami gave so many statements about Rasa Tattva, and Jiva Goswami, he systemized it and substantiated it with his sandarbhas. So much evidence from Shastra. So Vivekananda gave all his speculations on Raja Yoga and Advaita and all this kind of thing, in between eating meat and smoking hookahs and things like that. And maybe other things also. So it's widely considered that it's all the same. If you see Hinduism, they have temples, and even if you don't have temples, you don't have to have temple. But if you don't have to believe in any god, or if you want to believe, you can. And it all looks the same anyway. If you see temple and there's chanting going on. When I first went to Belgaum in North Karnataka state, we have our temple there, which doesn't look anything like a temple. It was previously was a grains go down. But just close by there, you could see there's a very beautiful temple, and you'd hear very nice chanting. I said, "Oh, that's very nice. What's that temple?" I thought I'd go. Sai Baba. They do all the right things, but for the wrong. All the right things for the wrong thing. But so it may be that it's the same thing. There are temples. There's chanting. People come and do some puja, they offer some flowers, they offer some incense, they get some powder or something to put on their forehead, and it all looks the same. The offerings might be different, just like Vaishnavas, they offer coconuts, and the Shaktas, they may offer blood. Some of them give their own blood. That's a very good offering. Cut it and give you. But when you're a Shakta and you're used to eating meat, you're saying, well, you offer some blood, you offer some rice, it's all the same. For them it's just food, that's all. Offer flower, different kind of flowers. They're mostly in the Shaiva and Shakta traditions. They like to offer these jabaful, it's called in Bengali. It's actually japa in Sanskrit. Hibiscus, red hibiscus. What's it called in Hindi? Japa? Don't know. It's a... They like that. So different flowers, but it's all it looks the same, right? It's all the same. In one sense, we can say it's all part of Vedic culture, but there is a very great difference, because you get a different kind of result. There's a different conception. You may think, well, if you think Shakti is supreme, or you think Shiva is supreme, or you think Sai Baba is supreme, or you think Jesus is supreme, or you think Krishna is supreme, it's all the same, because anyway, it's just a tool, right? The Mayavadis say. Bhakti is a tool to help you, you worship a God, and then you realize you are God. Doesn't sound very logical, but anyway. That's what they say, and it's good for people who are on a lower stage. And when you come to a higher stage, you realize, I got stomach, I'm God. Or Prabhupada used to give the example, they call themselves God, but when they get a toothache, then suddenly they forget they're God and rush off to the dentist. And it's all their leela. People, yaya samohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manate nartam yat kritam chabhibhadyate tat kritam chabhibhadyate. How powerful is this maya, this Shakti, this material Shakti, material energy, whereby the jiva, who is by nature full of all knowledge and bliss and is eternal, identifies himself as some body made of this, some body and mentality that goes with it, produced from the three modes of material nature. And you think, I'm this. And then when you start to get philosophical, you think, Tat Tvamasi, I'm not this, I'm that, I am the Supreme. What a power, how powerful is Maya? We should learn about this. Otherwise, we should learn, just as the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught, that in the Vedas there's knowledge in three divisions: Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. First of all, we have to know our Sambandha, who we are and what is our relationship with everything else. So if we misconceive that, if we think I am an enjoyer of this material world and Shakti is my mother who helps me to do so, then we remain in the material world. So it's important to understand who is this Maya and how she works. Otherwise, we become curious to explore it. The forest of material enjoyment is described in the Bhagavatam. It's not pleasant. But we find that materialistic people, they like to do unpleasant things. They take a pleasure, or difficult things. Things that are dangerous, like climbing mountains, for no particular, as a sport, climbing a mountain. Do the army train that also? It depends which terrain you're working on. Then it's not a sport. Then you need to climb a mountain. It's very dangerous. If you have to, like in Kargil, they had to attack up the mountain, and people shooting down at you from up there. Pretty tough. That's this. Since time immemorial, it's been a standard thing in military art, that because defenders take a high position, and you have to break down the walls or climb up, and it's a very difficult thing. Anyway, mountain skiing, that can be also something practical if you're in Finland in the winter and you have to move from one place to another. But skiing for sport, slalom, very dangerous. People take pleasure in it. Taking intoxication can be very dangerous, especially, well, you can kill yourself with alcohol. Or definitely, people who inject with heroin, they must know before they do so that it's a way to early death. But they do. Cigarettes on the packet. Smoking kills. They used to put so many things. The Director General of the American Health Department has ascertained that smoking cigarettes can be very detrimental to health, and they put all things, and eventually they got down to 2 words: smoking kills, and still people buy it. So it's almost like you're trying to defy nature and show, I am God. Let's go in the forest of material enjoyment and see, I don't care about you. But we see that Mother Durga, Dasha Bhuja, she has 10 hands, and she has the chopper, and one hand is holding the Asura and chopping their head, and all different weapons in her hands for killing the Asuras. They come to worship her, she plays with them like a cat with a mouse and kills them. So we should know that although the Maya is very beautiful, we hear of the just as I was seeing this Netflix thing, and where there's some movie is advertised. It's the same thing. Sex. What are they promoting in the movies? Sex, that's all. And it's nothing new. It's the same thing that's going on since time immemorial. Just they make some different story. But it's all based on simply sex attraction. And then some actors and actresses, they get old and they get forgotten, they bring some new ones. It's the same thing. The same old thing. So we may say, oh, very beautiful actress. But then we hear in the heavenly planets the women are thousands of times more beautiful than the women are. It's difficult for me to imagine, because how can they? The form of the body and the face, how much better can it get, or worse if you're a renunciant, or if you're really detached, then you don't see beauty or non-beauty. How much more beautiful can it get? But then the summation of all beauty in this material world is Maya herself. Saundarya Lahiri, waves of beauty. So it's important for us to know that, what is that Shankara says? Maga. Don't go there. Well, what does it say? Naristana bharam, na bidesh. The women's breasts are very heavy and full, and her waist is very thin. That sounds very nice. That Maga, don't go. Keep away. It's not for you. Not for you. This Bhaktistan Sahasranama, what is that? Nahitavadam. I can't remember now. Nahitavadam. He says that the beauty of women, that's not for you. Leave it alone. But it's very attractive. So we should learn not to even desire to become interested in that. Markandeya Rishi, he took the benediction. Wrong benediction. He asked for the wrong thing. I want to see Maya. Wrong idea. It got him in a lot of trouble for a very long time. Even when he had to live such a long time, and then even when the whole material world was destroyed, he was still floating and struggling in the ocean. So we should not be enamored by this Shakti, this power by which all the jivas in this material world, they're enamored by this beautiful woman. That also comes up in the Puranjan story, that the whole world is enamored by a woman. This is the woman, the Maya. We offer our respect to her. We bow down to her and say, Mother, please leave me alone. Catch the lotus feet of our real mother in the spiritual, of whom Durga is a Durga, hard to go away from, hard to get out of. Durga means of fort. We're trapped within a fort, so very hard to go out from. So when we become attached to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, then only we can come out. At the same time, we don't reject the worship of Shakti, because that's also given to help them to come up. But yesterday, that verse, the devotees, they're not envious of those who are worshipping the Ghora Rupa, the horrible forms. Srila Prabhupada gave some examples. Kala Bhairava, Chandika, Mahakali, So these are all fearsome forms. Bhairav is the form of Shiva when he's in rage after his wife, she's been killed, and then her body, he takes in anger all over the universe. So he's in rage at that form, in that form. But we should know that those who are worshipping these forms, why are people attracted to worship these forms? Because they're also envious. They're not attracted to the beauty of Krishna. They're attracted to the horrible feature of this material manifestation. Because they want to live very comfortably, but they know that there are so many impediments. So they worship that Mother, you take away all the difficulties so that I can live very comfortably and nicely. Kamine kam nahi tavadam. Now it came to my mind. The attraction towards the attractive women, that is nahi tavadam. Bhakti-stanta Saraswati says. So these they worship that for, and also they think, because the idea to live in this world comfortably, that's foolish and envious of Krishna, not wanting to surrender to Krishna. But that means I live comfortably and others will live uncomfortably. Worshipping such a form, then there's animal sacrifice. Means there's some envy toward the animals. Of course, in the animal sacrifice in the Vedic culture, it's supposed to be done in such a way that the animal doesn't become afraid. Somehow or other they have to do it. You bring the goat and they don't see the chop. They take them by, they're held and take them by surprise, and with one stroke you're supposed to kill them. But the desire to eat the flesh of another being, it's a long, long way from pure love of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada commented that people who eat meat that are given in sacrifice, they call it Kali Prasad. But he said they think they're taking prasad, it's the mercy of the goddess. But actually she is the wife of Lord Shiva, and he's a great Vaishnava. He doesn't eat meat. So she doesn't eat meat because she only takes his remnants. So who takes that blood and flesh? All the spirits, the evil spirits who are accompanying Kali. So that's the prasad you're getting. So that's not purifying, but at least something is that recognition of a higher power, that is there. It's a beginning. And it's within the Vedic culture, because that is approved by the Vedic process, by the Shastra. So you're within the right, we're in the right place to make advancement, although we're still a long, long way from the goal at that level. Now we may say, well, Nrsimhadev, that's also full of blood, and Krishna killed so many people, but especially Nrsimhadev. It seems to be like the Vaishnava version of Kali. And in fact, if we see around Mayapur, where the Hindus, you'll see like on their motorbikes, the young man riding, they got these big motorbikes, and the sign of their increasing economic status. And many of them, they'll have a picture of Nrsimha, or written in Bengali, Joy Nrsimhadeva. And that's because of the Nrsimha temple at ISKCON Mayapur. There was already Lakshmi Narasimha there for so many years, established by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But he's not Ugra. At ISKCON Mayapur, he's Ugra. He's very fierce. But they like, because Bengalis, not the Vaishnavas, but probably the majority are Shaktas. Maybe 50-50, probably the majority. Now so many became atheists. So that may be attractive to them, but the pure Vaishnavas, they're attracted to Nrsimha not so much because of the blood and gore and all this kind of thing. Although when Jadurani Mataji was painting Nrsimhadev under Prabhupada's order, she brought the picture and showed Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, more blood. He wanted to show plenty of blood. So that is there, but the Vaishnavas, they're not so, it's not so much that they're thinking destroy, let the demons be killed, but they're seeing how the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, is so much loving of Prahlad and so much protecting. Of course, he also takes pleasure in killing like that. That's why Jayan Vijay came down to take those forms so he could have, Vishnu could have a good fight. But in his ultimate aspect, his original form, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, he is Nandatmaja Rasika Shekhar. He's the son of Maharaj Nanda, who's a cow herder, not a cow killer. And Krishna is Rasika Shekhar. He's the topmost enjoyer of all mellows. So Krishna in Vrindavan, he kills also, but the acharyas explain that Krishna in his original form he doesn't do that. That's only a necessity of this material world. Krishna in his topmost loving aspect, the Vatsalya Rati and Shringara Rati, relating to his devotees as parents and relating to his devotees as lovers. So there's nothing horrible in there. Madhurja Bhagavatasa, the essence of Krishna's godness is his sweetness. Whereas the worshippers of Shakti, they're attracted to the sheer force and power. Here in Tamil Nadu also, that's if you go in the country areas, if I go to Karumandarai or to our Vellore center, which is outside the city, you'll hear from the loudspeakers, it's like a Tamil pop song. Shakti, Shakti, do 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 do. It's like real high power, isn't it? And they sing something in Tamil, but it really gets the feeling of lots of energy. So they like that, and it's a big thing here, isn't it? All the imitating the Ayappas, the wives who are left behind for 40 days, they put on some red and yellow cloth and they go off to all the Shakti temples. And there's that Om Shakti, right? That idiot who declared himself an incarnation of Durga, and people believe it. Yeah, I need to get Prabhupada's books. But yeah, it's a big thing that people want to... Everyone's worshipping Shakti. Everyone in the material world is worshipping Shakti, either directly or indirectly. They want to get power to enjoy themselves. They want to be healthy so they can enjoy themselves. I was just thinking that if someone has a bad back, just like one of our devotees here has a bad back. No, that's very painful, and it's not, no one likes it. There are so many kinds of diseases people can get, but for the karmis, that must be one of the worst diseases. Why? Because they can't have sex. They'd rather lose their foot or something like that. So the whole material life is simply centered on enjoyment. And for that they want to get Shakti, they want to be young, do yoga. Yoga for sex. You'll find there are books. I saw it as a kid, yoga for sex. And later because they have the idea, if you get good health, good strength, then you can enjoy very nice. Then you can enjoy very nicely. But yoga, indriya samyama, yoga begins with, what's the word? Subduing the senses. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll finish there for today and can speak some more tomorrow about this. It's a bit taking a license with the name Tirthakara. Now, he who makes tirthas. But actually, we should understand this. Otherwise, because in general Hinduism, people think, yeah, if the women want to go and see some man who calls himself Durga, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And anything, everything, it's all the same. If you want to kill animals and offer, it's okay. And if you don't, it's also okay. And if you don't do anything, it's also... Everything's okay. The original hippies. Let it be. Peace man. Or whatever. So we have to understand all these things. Because it may seem the same. Go to a Shiva temple, Kali temple, Krishna temple, Sai Baba temple. It's all the same. And many people think that. Otherwise, why are they going to Sai Baba? Where is that in Shastra? Nowhere in Shastra. And they're saying, yeah, it's all the same. You have a deity of Sai Baba and you offer flowers and you sing some bhajans, take some prasad. It's all the same. But that's... Shirdi is not a tirtha. It's an imagined tirtha. It's like a revolving door. You go in, it's a revolving door with no way to come out the other side. You just go around and you come back again, that's all. So you do your puja and everything and you end up in the same place, in the material world, except you end up a few steps backward for the offense of, instead of going closer to Krishna, you end up a few steps backward for the offense of considering some Muslim fakir who we don't know where he is now, what kind of body he's in, and considering him to be worshipable on the level of Krishna, or even the Vedic deities, they're worshipable. It's allowed, it's ordained in Shastra, but nothing about Sai Baba. And people, this Jotamot Totapot did so much damage because then now they don't have a respect for Shastra because they think any opinion is the same. So then what do you need Shastra for? At least previously people would have respect for that, just like this Shankaracharya from Dwarka, he's going around preaching, don't worship Sai Baba, he's not a Vedic deity. Who's listening? One temple in Kakinada, they changed from Sai Baba to Hanuman. That's all I heard for all his campaign. And they don't care what Shastra says, what Sadhu says. If it feels good, do it. So a very dangerous situation. Therefore we should distribute these books, Prabhupada's books, and speak the philosophy within them. Not adding anything or taking anything away. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
His Holiness Bhakti Vikasa Swami Maharaj ki Jai.